Counties Sports from BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's Monday Night Sport with Luke. No Jeff this evening. He will be back next week, otherwise he's in trouble. Back in May 2012, before Olympic and Paralympic fever gripped the nation, I took a trip to Towcester and met a young lady called Gabi Down. Gabi from Milton Keynes was in training in readiness to appear at her first Paralympic Games at the tender age of 13, although I think by the time the Games started she was 14. I'm getting a nod, so that's about right. Now 16, she joins me in the studio to talk wheelchair fencing and in particular cutting funding for the sport, which could have a dramatic effect on Gabi's ability to compete at the highest level. Good evening, Gabi Down. Welcome.
Hiya.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
A lot of water under the bridge since I met you back in Towcester with Gail Ems at the time, and we had a go at wheelchair fencing. I think Gail was slightly better than me, I have to be honest with you. Talking of 2012, do the memories still there? Do they come back to you every now and again?
It's the biggest competition. Like, even if I go to, say, 10 more Paralympic Games, competing at home games was ridiculous, especially as I was 14. It was just such a mind-blowing experience, having all my family and friends there. And it was amazing. And it's like, just every year, and just when it comes back to the date, it is just...
It's there, isn't it? It's got to be.
Yeah.
I think it is. I mean, for me, as somebody that was watching and in some small part of the games, presenting programmes and doing sport, those memories will live with me. Forget about it. When you're competing, just being surrounded by everything that goes on, it must have been very special.
It's just like when you get to other competitions, you think back to the crowd it was like in London, and it does spur you on.
Is it never quite the same, though?
No,
is it? No.
Like the amount of noise there was in the stadium supporting us. It's like people that had no idea who you were before, and they just were all happy to come and support you. Like each competition, if you think back to it, it manages to spur you on that a bit more. And it is something that I think everyone who competed thinks back to regularly.
So you use those memories in competition?
Like you're never going to get that at a competition, and like because it was a home game, so we had so many people supporting us. So to have that to go back to when we're competing elsewhere, it's really good to use to try and spur you on and think back to that and all the support that we had then. So yeah, it's really helpful.
Now, you obviously competed since then. April 2013, you won 2 bronze medals in Montreal then at the Grand Prix World Cup.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of event that you can use?
Yeah, that was one of the first competitions that I'd gone back and used, because I think that was the first competition since the games that we'd done abroad. Okay. So I really, really used that then. And actually one of my family members was really ill at the time, so I sort of used that too. So I used that to try and put myself in a situation where I had the advantage. So at the time I was using the crowds from London and also fencing as if it was to make my family member proud too. And that really, really, really helped me. And obviously I got the medal.
Brilliant. I mean, a couple of bronzes as well, which is good news. How do you feel you're progressing year on year? I mean, do you feel you're getting better?
Yeah, definitely. I'm slowly working my way up the world rankings.
What are you at the moment? 16th, is it?
16th in foil and 14th in épée.
Okay, yeah.
And that's
just for the purposes of anyone listening, just briefly and as clearly as possible, explain the difference between the foil and the épée.
Oh, God. Okay.
It's hard, isn't it?
In épée, you can hit from the waist upwards, you can hit absolutely anywhere, so the guard's bigger to protect your hand because your hand's target. Yep. In foil, you can only hit the torso, so you've got a smaller guard because you can't hit the hand, so it doesn't need protecting.
That works for me. I think everyone got that. Yeah. So progressing year on year, so going back to that, you do feel you're getting better?
Yeah, like each year I'm going obviously on the round of tournaments and stuff, and I'm getting older, getting more experience, getting more training, and also I feel like my level of fencing's slowly creeping up to through more competitions, getting more experience with certain fencers. I normally fence a different fencer at each competition, so obviously then you see how they fence.
So you're learning from them as well?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, I feel like I'm progressing.
Good. That's not a bad thing. It's good. Look, let's talk about this kind of funding. So UK Sport withdrew funding from wheelchair fencing. Why? From what you understand, why?
From what I understand, it was because they felt that we couldn't do well enough in Rio for them to want to support us.
I mean, it is cutthroat, and you're not the only sport that had funding cut, are you? You know,
it's really heartbreaking because you work so hard at your sport, and obviously everyone that does it absolutely loves it, and they put their heart and soul into it, and then to be told that you're not going to be supported anymore because they feel like you can't do good enough. It's really horrible, and it feels like you're constantly having to try and prove yourself too, and you're not just fencing for you and to try and get the results that you want. Like, we had Europeans a few weeks ago, and that was a competition that perhaps could have changed things around to us, and everybody, no matter how much they tried to forget about it, everyone felt this enormous amount of pressure to it's like trying to impress them, when, to be honest, the chances are the decision's not going to change. So I think it's affected everyone's performance at the moment too, because that's all anyone can think about.
And I think for a sport like wheelchair fencing, it's important to say that it's not just you, it's parents, family members, coaches, trainers. There's a wider circle, isn't there?
Well, yeah, because now it's come to parents and stuff who are paying for their kids to go to these camps and travelling down and stuff, paying petrol. Now they're going to get no help with it, and obviously they're working to provide for their families and everything. It's just becoming so hard to keep up the sport.
So you sent me some information about the cost that it would take between now and Rio, which is obviously your aim. You're in that cycle, they call it cycle, don't they? The Paralympic cycle. And it would cost you about 30 grand, is that right?
Yeah. Well, that's to pay, so the cycle starts at the end of September.
Oh, right.
So that's our first competition in Poland. That competition's going to cost about €700 entry fees and hotel and everything, then flights on top of that, transport to the airport. If anyone needs new kit before then, you've got to pay for new kit, paying for coaching before then, club costs, petrol to get to training and everything.
And that's just one.
That's just one competition.
One competition, yeah. So, I mean, what this means for you going forward is probably a fair amount of expense for your loved ones to a certain extent, but they can't carry that cost.
No, of course not.
They can't carry that cost. And what you're probably looking for is not necessarily, somebody with bags of cash to come in and say, here's 30 grand. It's you're looking for sponsorship, aren't you? I mean, that's what now, because of the UK sport cutting funding, you're now looking for people to see you as an option to sponsor. Yeah,
that's what we're hoping for. I've actually set up a donation page, which works so anyone can donate money. It can be £5, £10, whatever, to try and help build it up slowly, which is at gofundme.com/Gabi Down.
Yeah.
So that's slowly building up. I've only had it up for a week and a bit. And that is going to help go towards flights and everything. And I think that just shows, I think I've had about 8 or 9 donations on there, and that's already can pay for some flights.
Right.
So that's how easy it is.
So as a sponsor, what do I get from Gabi Down? I'm obviously what I get is the great feeling of seeing a wheelchair fencer competing at the Olympic Games, which is pretty cool, or Paralympic Games. But what do they get from Gabi?
Well, what I said previously is I can go to events. If they've got talks and stuff, I can go and do dinner talks, wearing company t-shirts, having company logos on my kit and on my wheelchair when I'm travelling and stuff.
So there's a whole host of things that you hopefully will get people listening to this right now, and hopefully, as well as speaking to me, you're going to have to work really hard, aren't you, to get this.
We're at the moment too. We're trying to set up a race night or somewhere, so we're looking for someone to donate a venue to try and set up a charity night. So hopefully raise some money from that too. So we're trying to look at loads and loads of different possibilities to raise as much money as possible to try and help get to more competitions to give me the best possible chance.
And I guess it will be a case of doing it competition by competition, won't it? It will be saying, if I can get enough to do this, and then I'll maybe think about the next competition and the next competition.
Yeah, it has to be, because otherwise just setting your sight on the end goal is just...
It's impossible. It feels too big.
Again, it feels like you're never going to get anywhere. But if I do it by competition by competition, it's like small steps leading up to the goal, which is what you do in fencing too.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's going to work better that way.
You're based in Milton Keynes, aren't you? And Milton Keynes is a big place with lots of people and lots of companies and lots of people who can maybe look at you as an option to sponsor. Well, what's the best way of getting in touch with you? If there's somebody listening to this and you're a young wheelchair fencer who's you actually got quite a lot of publicity during the Paralympic Games,
didn't you? Yeah.
Because of your age.
Yeah.
It kind of helps. It's something you can use, isn't it? How do people get in touch with you?
I've got a website which is www.gabidown.co.uk, Gabi spelled Gabi, and on there's all the contact details. There's an email address, phone number, and everything to get in contact.
You've got a lot of work to do, haven't you?
Yeah.
Not just you. Is that your dad through there?
It's my uncle.
Your uncle. Well, your uncle and all family members are going to have a lot of work to do as well. And he's putting his thumbs up, so he's happy. He's up for the job of working hard to get you to Rio. We talked about the Paralympic Games in London, it's going to be difficult to top, but Rio's a pretty good place to top it.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good place to go.
It's going to be a completely different experience because you go from a home game to someone else, but I'm sure it will just be just as great. And it's nice to know that it's going to be a different experience too, and it's going to be nothing like my first games, so it's something else to look forward to, obviously added to the fact that it's the Paralympics.
And just to finish off, I guess the pressure that you felt and as a team felt when that question mark over the funding was there, the pressure will be there for you as well, because the better you do in competition, the more likely you are to get sponsorship.
Yeah.
So there is an individual pressure on you as Gabi Down, isn't there?
Yeah, but hopefully obviously the pressure's different when it's not, because UK Sport is such a big and powerful funding source. I think when it comes down to individual funding, it's a different sort of pressure, and I guess it's more of a relaxed pressure, so hopefully I can thrive off the pressure and it can help me do better.
Listen, love to have you in again at any point. Keep in touch with us.
Will do.
Let us know how it's going. Give us those details again, the kind of the giving page and your website address. Tell everyone.
The page is www.gofundme.com/Gabi Down, and my website is www.gabidown.co.uk.
Gabi, it's great to see you again. Good luck.
You.
I really wish you all the best. Thank you. Gabi Down there, wheelchair fencer from Milton Keynes. It could be a long road, but maybe you can help. You've got the details, and why not try and support a young athlete, elite athlete, get to Rio.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.